Peace and greetings. Welcome back to the Original Titan website, where we are breaking down the hollow mind perceiver, parts of the circuit board. Looking at the picture of the hollow mind perceiver, we're no longer feeling confused, as we can now identify some of the parts that we've gone over. We have become familiar with the first four time dimensions and mental spheres as far as external time is concerned. Now let us move on to the other parts of the hollow mind perceiver. And what we're looking at here are the four radial time dimensions. But we want to pay attention to the hyperplasmic space flows. Hyperplasmic, what do we mean by that? We're talking about the specific units or magnitudes that travel from one part of the four radial time dimensions to the next. Here in alpha alpha, which is a hyperplasmic space flow, it has 28 magnitudes. It goes from the fifth time dimension to the seventh time dimension. It also has a terminator and generator at the ends here. Terminator and generator. What we don't see in this area is the 13, 14, 15, and 16. That's missing because it's in the ninth time dimension that we're not there yet. But I will mention it again, I must, because for each of these 13, 14, 15, and 16 units for all of our hyperplasmic flows, talking about beta beta, beta alpha, alpha beta, and beta beta, okay? Each one of them is guarded by a generator. Let's take the definition of a generator. It's going to refer to an electrical device that converts a form of energy into electricity. That's very basic, okay? Our generator is coming from our hyperpartons. We have four hyperpartons in the ninth time dimension. We have Dum Quali, we have Dum Dwar, we have Cum, and we have Chemio. Each one of those are generators, okay, that move energy, move these hyperplasmic magnitudes, all right, that informs the outer time. We already went over the external or the outer time, which are the X's that we can't see them now, but just to let you know that these hyperplasmic units inform those areas. What we also want to know is, what are terminals? A terminal is basically a type of connector that's going to terminate something so that they don't continue on forever and ever and ever. Okay? It must end at some point. And where is it going to end? We end our moons at 28 days, correct? There are only 28 plasmas to each of these hyperplasmic flows. Beta alpha goes from the seventh time dimension, seventh mental sphere, over to the sixth time dimension and sixth mental sphere. Alpha beta goes from the fifth time dimension, fifth mental sphere, down to the eighth time dimension, seventh mental sphere. Beta beta goes from the eighth time dimension, seventh mental sphere, over to the sixth time dimension, sixth mental sphere. Each one having their own set of generator and terminals. There are 8 altogether. To go further into the external hyperplasmic space flows, which again is the burnt orange areas that we see, what I want to do is blot out the force fields, the horizontal force fields for the fifth time dimension and the sixth time dimension. We will go over those in another video. Also, we want to do is blot out the talking trees of life, which are vertical, because we will go over those definitely in another video. Now that we've isolated those two main parts of vertical and horizontal, what we're looking at are the terminals and generators a little more clearly. And we can see that there's 8 of them. These 28 magnitudes are informing our external time. What else can I say about these particular areas? Because sometimes you hear people say hyperplasmic, and we don't really know what is being said. What is hyperplasma? What creates hyperplasma? We're talking electricity, but we're not talking it in an electrical class. We're only talking about the parts of the circuit board at this time. We're not going to delve into dum quali, dum dwar, cum, or chemio at this time. Those will be the 4 hyperpartons that are in the 9th time dimension that are actually generating, okay? Generating the energy in each of these hyperplasma flows. And you might say, well, what's taking it out to the external time? Remember, we have the galactic channels. If you recall, the energy was coming from the one giver of movement and measure, which is the Hunab-Ku, in the 11th time dimension, in inner core time. We're not quite there yet, but we will see all these things in the next videos. And as that energy comes through for each of the hyperpartons, that is how the external time receives the energy flow. Just a little itty bitty bit at a time. Peace to the gods.